What is up, everybody? Welcome back to World's Biggest Collectors, episode 55, the show where we bring on the biggest physical media collectors in the YouTube and social media spaces. And today I have a very special guest. Planet Mondo is coming on to talk about collecting, movies, just a variety of topics. Mondo is very much into the cult films from Vinegar Syndrome and Severin. So we have a good conversation about that. He's also an artist, which we get into as well. Just overall, a great conversation. Mondo's a great dude. All of his links to his channel, to his Instagram, all that stuff is down below in the description. Definitely give him a follow and a subscribe. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy this conversation with Planet Mondo, episode 55, World's Biggest Collectors. Let's do it. All right, so we are back here on World's Biggest Collectors, episode 56. I am joined by Planet Mondo. What's going on, man?
What's going on, brother? Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely. And I know we were having some technical difficulties. You currently can't get in through your computer now, but you're making it work on your phone, and I appreciate it.
I couldn't skip out on this one.
Yeah, appreciate having you here, man. I know that you're a massive big time collector, so I knew I needed to have you on and talk about your history with collecting and all that good stuff. But before we get into it, do you want to let the people know where they can follow you, find you, subscribe to you, all that fun stuff, and what you do on your channel?
Yeah, you can check me out on YouTube, Planet Mondo. I haven't uploaded anything recently. I've just been super busy with work, but I was doing unboxings for a while. I'm leaning more towards doing like video essays. Because I don't know, man. There's so many people doing unboxings nowadays, and I just don't feel like they'll age. See, like you at least do reviews. Reviews are timeless. I was doing unboxings only pretty much. Yeah. And I feel like 2 years from now when it's out of print, like what's the point? So there's going to be some changes coming to the channel in the next couple of months. But yeah, subscribe on YouTube, Planet Mondo, and on Instagram, give me a follow, planet.mondo.
Planet.mondo. Awesome, man. And you're also, an artist as well. Yeah. You're into the artwork. I saw that Annihilation piece that you did on Instagram. That was pretty cool. I think you posted that on there today or yesterday.
Appreciate it. I'm actually working on an Infinity Pool one right now. So
nice. Were you a fan of that movie?
Hell yeah, man. I think
I loved it.
Dude, Cronenberg, his son is killing it. Like I've loved Antiviral. Possessor was my favorite one out of the three, but
I haven't seen Antiviral. Was that his first one, I guess?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Nice.
First one. All three films have been with Neon too, so Neon is putting out some good stuff.
I really dig like the sci-fi horror vibe stuff. I don't know, like Annihilation, like Possessor, Infinity Pool, just that kind of horror I really vibe with. So when a lot of people's like, oh, that was super weird, I didn't like that. The weirder the better when it comes to that for me. I always love it.
Same. I mean, I was on shout out to Disconnected. Him and I had a conversation about surrealist films. So surrealism for me is very unsettling in films. Yeah. And nothing really scares me anymore in movies. Like I can't tell you last time. Maybe Hereditary, I wasn't scared, but I was creeped out, So it's very hard at our age to scare you. But I think those films are very unsettling, where it makes me feel very uncomfortable. And that's rare nowadays. So, Brandon Cronenberg, he's one of those guys that's doing it right now. Ari Aster is another one. So,
yeah, Ari Aster is a weird one because feels like he's moving away from straight horror and just more into straight surrealism, almost like David Lynch or something. Yeah, and have you seen the new movie Talk to Me? I've heard some really good things about that one.
No, I'm actually going.
I want to check that out for sure. And by the time I have this up, obviously, this will probably be like 2 or 3 weeks later. So the movie will probably be heading towards ending its theatrical run. But yeah, man, I appreciate having you on, and I want to get into you as a collector, where you got started in your collecting. But also, everybody, I will have Planet Mondo's links down below in the description. Your YouTube, your Instagram, all that good stuff. So check him out there. But yeah, take me back to the beginning, man. Young little Planet Mondo. What was it like getting your start collecting? Because I feel like you have a different story than most people, and I want
I
to.
have a very
I don't
different
know the
story
full
than most
story, but
people.
just hearing you talk a few times, I know you have a different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, I have a very different story than most people. I'm Persian, so I was born in Iran. So I mean, bootlegs was all we had. So there was no official releases to like
Yeah,
Sleeping Beauty and all those movies. But I moved to Germany when I was 8 years old. But prior to that, I stayed in England, in London for 6 months, which is the first time I bought any kind of VHS tapes at the time, which was wrestling tapes. Um, I don't remember which tape it was, but it was one of those Coliseum videos. It had Ultimate Warrior and Mr. Perfect, I think, on the cover somewhere.
yeah,
Um, but I think it was like a UK exclusive. I've been trying to track that down for years just to buy it for like nostalgic purposes, but I don't think it was a US tape. But that was the first thing I ever bought as far as like a VHS or any kind of media. But I fell in love with it, man. I mean, wrestling was the first thing that I really collected as far as media. Um,
yeah.
I
Were
remember
you
those.
were you a professional wrestling fan from like your early days, real
Yeah,
young,
my
since you were a little
yeah,
kid?
my dad introduced me to wrestling very, very, very young. Some of my earliest memories is watching wrestling. So it
Yeah,
played a big part in my life. And full circle. I actually got involved with wrestling for years. I was doing graphics for wrestling companies. GCW being one of them. GCW is a pretty big company now, and they're like the feeding company, basically the feeder to AEW. So
yeah.
they basically
That's
it's
cool.
almost like NXT for AEW. Um, and I started kind of doing like promotions myself. Like I tried to run some shows, and during conventions I would basically bring in wrestlers and do custom art and have them sign the 8x10s and sell those. So I got involved with it pretty heavily, man. And the only reason I left it was mainly because of COVID, and I got into a lawsuit with Jim Cornette. You know,
Oh,
um,
really?
yeah, that
Damn.
was the reason I left wrestling. And Jim Cornette talked about it on his podcast for months, and I mean, we had a Forbes article written about it. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it went wild. And
You're,
him and I went to court,
you're gonna
and
have to give me some more details on that at some point.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
won't. I won't make you do it in front of the audience.
Yeah. There's only so much I can say on the audience in front of the audience, but it was a surreal experience because I mean, I was a kid watching
Hmm.
WWF in '95 with him managing the Heavenly Bodies, which were terrible at the time, and Yokozuna and Owen Hart and all that stuff, and being on a Zoom call with this guy in a courtroom during COVID times. I mean, I was just like,
It's probably pretty
what is
scary.
happening right now? What is happening right now?
That's nuts.
But yeah, just it left a bad taste in my mouth. So but
I'd
that's
say so.
side story.
Damn.
I got sidetracked with that, but yeah, wrestling was the main reason I got involved
Yeah.
with collecting, and ever since then, man, I kind of became obsessed with it, and
Yeah. I hear you. I was a big wrestling fan. Not. I got real heavy into it when I was probably like 12 or 13. I think I had watched a little bit when I was a kid, but it was like the Attitude Era that brought me into it because all my friends were watching it. Like back then, like everybody was watching wrestling
yeah,
during that time. So I kind of got sucked into it then. Became a big fan up until probably, I don't know, 2013, 2014 is probably when I stopped watching it pretty consistently. And now I pretty much don't keep up with it at all. Um, it just,
yeah,
I don't know. It just felt like the same old crap, especially WWE. And they weren't, it kind of felt like they were spinning their wheels. So I just kind of left it behind.
yeah. Very similar
But
to you, man. Once ECW and WCW died out, and I think it was 2000, 2001. I kind of phased out during that time, and
yeah,
I started getting involved with the indies because I'm from Philadelphia, so a ton of independent promotions are out here, from Ring of Honor. Everything started out here, so um, a lot of the talent that you see on TV now, they were wrestling here for a decade prior to being on television.
yeah.
So I kind of got involved with the indies and stopped watching the mainstream. But now I haven't watched anything for years now. At this point, 3, 4
And it's
years.
got to be different being involved in it, for so long. It probably want
Yeah,
nothing to do with it now. It's probably the last thing you want to check out.
Yeah, it's
I know you're not listening to Jim Cornette's podcast anymore.
no, we actually settled that. He paid me. I don't have any issues with him currently. You know,
Oh,
there's no
okay,
issues
cool,
with Jim Cornette. But
cool.
yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good experience, but it left a bad taste in my mouth because a lot of the people that I used to have their action figures and posters on the wall, like rest in peace to him, but Road Warrior Animal, he was one of them that I got to work with, pretty frequently.
Yeah,
Sabu, a lot of different people, and not necessarily those guys, but a lot of those people. Once you see them behind closed doors, it's a different story, and it just kind of changes your perspective on everything that's going on in that world. And
yeah,
it just wasn't for me. It's just not really something I wanted to be involved with anymore.
yeah. That makes sense. But yeah, I remember collecting VHS tapes, wrestling tapes, and I feel like that was what I bought. It was like horror and wrestling tapes when I would go to like a Suncoast or an FYE or something back in the day. And I think there was
Yeah.
DVDs around too, but it was a little cheaper to buy the VHSs. And I don't know if you remember the time when like VHS was transitioning to DVD, but it's kind of like you bought both, like you do Blu-ray and 4K now. It's really kind
Yeah.
of weird. Um, but yeah, I remember buying a lot of wrestling tapes and stuff. So born in Iran, moved to Germany, UK. When did you arrive in the US?
I would say 96. It was the end of 96. So I
End
was
of
here
'96.
right when the Attitude Era was sparking up. So, I
Cool,
got here
cool.
right in time. NWO, all that stuff. But yeah, when I first came here, man, I mean, because being in Germany, there wasn't as much at the time, at least. But there was an obsession with horror. Like you see all the media books that they're putting out now. That's not
Yeah,
new. The media books is new, but the concept of horror being big in Germany is not a new concept. I remember being a kid living there, and horror movies were on TV all the time. So I got
horror
exposed
feels
to a
like
lot of
very
horror movies.
universal. Everybody
Yeah,
loves it.
yeah,
People like being scared. It's a
yeah.
thrill.
I agree.
Um, so when you got over here, when did you start breaking off and forming your own collection? Is that something that happened early on, or did you wait till you got a little bit older?
Yeah, so it's kind of embarrassing and shameful to admit this, but I mean, obviously, I'm 36 now. This happened when I was 12 years old, so don't judge me. Um, but
I
I
will not.
actually, I was really bad when I was young. I was really really a bad kid, and I wanted XPW tapes. I don't know if you were familiar with XPW.
I've heard
Um,
of them before. I don't think I've ever watched it.
it was the concept was supposed to be that they're more extreme than ECW. So the
Yeah,
covers of the tapes were basically like porn stars and deathmatch wrestling and Sabu and all these crazy Abdul the Butcher and Terry Funk. So it was something that my mom wasn't going to buy me because the whole cover was just boobs and blood. So
yeah.
she wasn't going to buy me that. One day, I remember I was 12 years old. It was in a Suncoast video, and I decided to steal it.
Yeah.
I decided to steal it, and I did that a bunch of times. And I was like 12 years old, and obviously I got caught, and I stopped stealing then. I got caught when I was like 13, 14, or whatever the case
But
was.
how many did you get away with before you got caught?
A
You had
lot,
yourself a
man.
pretty
I had
sizable
multiple.
collection
Yeah,
before at that point.
it was a sizable collection. Yeah. And that just transitioned into once I became a normal person and came to my senses, it just became an obsession. I collected ever since then. Just for the record, I did buy all my movies ever since
Do
then.
you
So
do you still have those? Do you still have a lot of the wrestling VHS tapes in your collection, or have you got rid of them?
I do. Some of them got water damage because I had a flood in my basement, which actually ruined a lot of my collection. So I had to kind of, start my collection all brand new. Um, But yeah, I still have a decent amount of those. Yeah, I still have a lot of those Coliseum videos, even some of the ones that I brought from Germany that I can't even play here, that are in
Yeah,
German. So, but it's cool to
nice,
have it though.
nice. Yeah, and I guess from the tapes and stuff, that transition to DVD, Blu-ray. Were you like all in from the beginning? Were you collecting DVD wrestling DVDs and stuff? When did you kind of get more into movies and things like
Yeah,
that?
I was really. My biggest collection was during the DVD era.
Okay.
I spent all my money on DVDs. That's literally all I bought, and I remember when Blockbuster was going out, like I bought everything they had. Everything I didn't have, I would buy because they were selling for what, 99 cents, I think, a movie.
Yeah, what was
Um,
that, like 2008, 2009? They were
yeah.
kind of on their last leg.
So I really beefed up my collection. And once I got older, obviously, college days and, just dating and stuff like that, I stopped collecting and kind of phased out. And right around COVID, man, I came right back in. COVID was the time I started collecting again, honestly. And it was because of Vinegar Syndrome. Like it's the company that I discovered. And I was just like, holy shit, what a weird concept this is, that they're putting out
Yeah.
all these bizarre movies that nobody wants to see from the 70s, but they're giving it the highest treatment you can possibly think of. And
Were you did you have any knowledge of like the boutique labels, any of them, or was Vinegar Syndrome like the first one you discovered?
well, I definitely knew about Criterion. I knew about Criterion for years and years, and I knew about Arrow because I would see some of their releases in FYE, and I actually used to manage a FYE. So we had the Hellraiser box set and the Reanimator and all that stuff. So I was pretty familiar with what's out there, and of course Scream Factory, because I would, when you're stocking the shelves and stuff, obviously you become familiar with what's out there. But I really got back into collecting 2020 though, which is weird because I was surrounded by it for a year.
What did you have at before 2020? Were you mostly DVD? Didn't really have too much Blu-rays, or were you still
I
just kind of
probably had
holding
about
on to
80.
that past era of DVD and you didn't want to make that jump to Blu-ray because you're like, I don't want to rebuy all this stuff?
Yeah, basically, I just didn't want to rebuy everything, and I think I probably had about maybe 150, 200 Blu-rays in 2020, which
Yeah.
now I have, I think, like 2,500. So I mean, it's really going up in the last 3 years. And they were mostly comedies, which is weird because I rarely buy any comedies anymore.
Yeah.
But most of
I
my
feel like that
collection,
was most of my DVD collection from back in the day was like all comedies because those are the ones I rewatched over and over again.
yeah,
But I got rid of them all.
yeah. So I'm actually lucky. You obviously both of us are fans of slipcovers. A lot of those
Yeah.
comedies,
But
I
you know
bought
what?
them.
Back in the DVD days, I didn't think nothing of them. They were
Yeah,
kind of just an annoyance, and it wasn't the norm. So when you got one, I was like, "Oh, this doesn't match everything else."
you know, I've been trying to figure out why people obsess over slipcovers, and I know my reason. Obviously, I like the art, being an artist, but aside from that, I can't explain to you how much I hate those Blu-ray cases. Just the blue on a shelf, it just grosses me out. I hate the color blue on the shelf. My eyes just want to throw up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I think the slipcover helps me because it looks more organized. When it's in formation like that. I don't know, man. I hate bare slips. I mean, not bare slips,
so I mean,
bare
it
flip.
makes sense. That's why you love, the Vinegar Syndrome because their cases on Blu-rays are clear, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and there's something to that. Honestly, like Arrow,
Yeah,
most of their stuffs are in clear
yeah. I
cases.
like the. I'll say that's the one thing I hate when you get an Arrow release and it comes with a blue case. That's the grossest thing in the world to
Yeah,
me. I'm fine with my
100%.
regular Blu-ray cases, but an Arrow Blu-ray case, I'm like, ugh, get that out of
Yeah,
here. Uh,
I don't know, man. It just looks tacky. There's just something about
yeah,
all this blue on a shelf. It just, ugh.
yeah,
I'm actually, I obsessed over it so much that before it became, because I think they're pretty hard to get now. The clear cases, we used to be able to get them on eBay for like $1 a piece. So
yeah.
I bought like a couple hundred of them, and I replaced a lot of my cases with just clear cases. So most of my collection actually doesn't have
Well, that's
Blu-rays, like
interesting.
actual. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Criterion uses the clear cases, but Kino and Scream definitely use blue. So Paramount Presents uses the clear. There's quite a few that use the clear cases, but yeah, maybe they've gotten that
And
feedback as well.
it's interesting with Criterion, because they rarely do slips. I think like Pink Flamingos and
I
Time
just got
Bandits. I think
yeah
those are like,
Time Bandits with a slip, which is just out of nowhere.
yeah, and I think those are mainly the two that they put out that have slip covers. But with Criterions, for some reason, it just looks so clean and neat in a clear case that I don't even
Yeah,
need it with a slip cover. It looks
yeah.
nice that way.
Well,
So
they conditioned you with that label to not feel like you need the
yeah,
slip with it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say I feel like that makes that label the most, non-day one buying label that there is. You don't feel like you have to buy Criterion's day one unless you just really want it. Like Thelma and Louise, I got day one, but that was a digipack. But even with the digipacks, you don't have to worry about those going
Right.
out because if it's a digipack, it's going to stay that way. But yeah, it's interesting for sure, for sure. So in 2020, you ramped it up a lot, and that had to do with you staying home and not having nothing to do, hanging
Yeah,
out,
and
watch movies.
during that time, it was just it was easy to make money. There was DoorDash and Grubhub and all these things that you could make side money with, a lot of money. So I
Yeah,
had
the
disposable.
government was giving us a lot of disposable income as well.
Yeah, that, and also I was still doing the convention, so I was doing really well, and I it grosses me out how much money I spent on some of these vinegar syndrome stuff because I try to catch up.
Yeah.
And I remember I bought I think the Frogtown movie with Roddy Piper. I think that was I paid almost like $100 for that because I wanted the slipcase with it. I would
Oh
never do
damn,
that today though. Like now that I look back
damn.
at it, I'm like,
How burned were
how
you
did
that they did the new slipcover, or did you not like that one?
I didn't like it. I mean I
Yeah.
still got it, but unlike Tony though, I didn't get a double of it. No disrespect
Yeah.
to Tony. I just put a I
you,
just
you
put an
gotta get
empty case in there.
Well, when they first announced it, I was like, "Oh, they're just doing a slipcover for Hell Comes to Frogtown." But when I saw they had the movie in there, I was like, "Oh, I don't have the movie, so this is perfect for me."
Yeah, yeah, which
Um,
is nice. They're smart. They're
do
smart
you
with it.
have the Vinegar Syndrome subscription?
No, no, and
Okay.
honestly, after this year, I don't think I would subscribe because I think this is probably one of their worst years, if I'm being
Well,
honest.
that's perfect because I did want to get into that. I was gonna say, and I was thinking about maybe making a video on this at some point, but I do feel like this is a very disappointing year for Vinegar Syndrome. Maybe not for hardcore Vinegar Syndrome fans, which is interesting you say because I would consider you a hardcore fan of them. Um, but just the way the trajectory of Vinegar Syndrome leading at the end of last year, leading into this one, just felt like they had such momentum, and it almost
Yeah.
feels like they've lost it all in the last like 3 or 4 months. And I'm hoping they can maybe gain some traction as we go into the end of the year, but I don't know. Killer Condom on 4K didn't do it for me yesterday
No.
when they announced that. I'm sure it's a fun trauma film that some people are going to enjoy, but I was like, oh, come on. That's your main title. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Because I mean, obviously it's subjective. There's a Vinegar Syndrome group on Facebook, and a lot of people say this is one of their best years. So I don't want to, tell anybody how to feel about it. Give it your own shot. Check out their movies because they're putting out a bunch of action movies and martial arts movies that are not my cup of tea. That's just not the genres that I necessarily like.
Yeah.
So that's mainly why I'm saying it's the worst year for me personally. But somebody else that's into those films, they might think it's the best year. But
Yeah.
I'm 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 more like you. Like I'm not against them gearing more towards the bigger films. Like I prefer that.
Yeah.
If Scream Factory is upgrading all these 4Ks, I don't mind if Vinegar Syndrome takes a couple of those titles because they'll give it a better treatment. And I don't mind that. I would rather have that than kill a condom, like you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I just like watching their stuff because it looks so good. And it
yeah,
just feels so much like you're watching. I don't know. You just get that film feel like you're watching like a real movie. I don't know.
yeah,
It just feels like you're getting that hearty meal in your film diet when you watch like a Vinegar Syndrome transfer. I don't know. But
yeah,
I just can't do it with some of those movies. And I feel like Vinegar Syndrome and Criterion, they I feel like with those two, like Arrow Video and Screen Factor, I feel like deals more in the mainstream, but with those two, it's like they rarely have like the mainstream stuff. And they more or less deal with the obscurity. And the fans of those labels um, will always say that they're great because they just really dig those kind of movies. And it's so funny to me how both of those labels feel like they can get so snobby at times, but they're like two sides of the two different sides of the
yeah.
spectrum. As
Completely
far as like
opposites.
objective like film quality, which there is no objective film quality. It's all supposed to be subjective, but there are legitimate like trash films that Vinegar Syndrome will put out, and people will hail as all-time classics and masterpiece that love those kind of movies. And then the Criterion movies, which are objectively well-made movies from the past. So it's just kind of weird
Yeah,
how it feels. They almost feel the same, but they're
yeah.
championing like one's championing trash, one's prestigious classics. So it's kind of weird.
Well, Criterion is all over the place though, because they'll put out some trash too. I mean, the John Waters
Yeah,
movies, those are pure trash, So I, but I know what you mean though. Obviously, they have masterpieces. Vinegar Syndrome does not, So
yeah.
I know what you mean though. That's interesting. That's a nice perspective on things.
But those two seem to get the most like snobbery from. I feel like as film fans, this is real cinema. You hear that a lot. Um,
I would,
but I like to see Vinegar Syndrome do more stuff like Freeway, and I thought that was a really good release. And Amityville Horror. There's just I don't know, just a couple of mainstreams every few months. I think would be nice.
Plus, I also think a lot of people like to gatekeep a lot of these companies, and they will almost want it to be like an exclusive club. Like I know about this. I don't want anybody else to buy this shit. And I've
Yeah,
never really understood that mindset, because it's like I want Vinegar Syndrome to expand and do better and make more money, because look at physical media. I mean, it's we can say it's going to last for 10 years, but we don't know that. You can't guarantee that. Olive Films just randomly closed shop. And again, they
yeah,
haven't put out, they're not putting out stuff like Vinegar Syndrome is. But my point is it's unpredictable. So if they're doing well, I want them to sell more. I want more people to come in because of a Freeway or a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I want them to get more money. Plus, because, to restore all the trash that they put out, that takes money. They need to make money to be able to put this stuff out. So a lot of that money goes back into, restoring these films that
yeah.
don't necessarily, they're not blockbuster hits that are going to have, sellouts. They're going to last for a couple years, and that's just part of the game.
It feels like all the ones they've done recently, you'll look at the numbers on them and they're all like well over 1,000. So it doesn't feel like the ones they've done like the last 2 or 3 months are necessarily selling all that
Yeah, I
well
know
for them.
the Cardona collection that they just announced, the second one. I noticed it was 8,000 copies, and the
Yeah,
last one I think was 6,000 or 5,000.
yeah.
And I don't understand
It's a
why,
lot.
because I mean that one's been sticking around forever. They can't get rid of the first one. So to print like 3,000 more copies on the second round, I don't understand it. But
Yeah, it's a lot of stock to just keep hanging around. But
yeah,
obviously, they want their stock to continue on and live on for, future fans of the label and stuff. But they don't all need slipcovers, I guess.
right.
Um, it just feels like a lot of the limited edition slipcovers are sticking around for a while. Even Showgirls, there's still plenty of that in stock, even though they said that was the highest selling one they've ever had. I don't know. I just see there's just a lot of movies I want to get that nice treatment, and I know it's a rights thing, and they would love to probably get Surf Ninjas or something like that to do a VSU, but I would love to see more of that. The VSU line just showed so much promise when I started seeing stuff like Roadhouse and Sidekicks, and I was like, oh damn, they're gonna go down that route. Cloak and Dagger, like fun kids movies from like the 80s, 90s. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think VSU is probably the one line that I'm just gonna blindly buy anything they put out.
Yeah,
Dude, I can't pass up that packaging, man. That shit is
it's nice.
like top notch. They've really put in some effort, man. I mean, I thought I was gonna hate the Cloak and Dagger design, and then I saw it in person. And I was like, I get it. Like this looks amazing in person. So
Yeah.
Showgirls, on the other hand, though, they could have done better. Honestly, like that one is, the inside looks better,
I
but from the
liked it better
outside,
in person than I did when they first announced it and I saw
yeah,
it.
it just looks very
But
lazy.
they even outdid that whole line though with this freaking Blade in the Dark one. I
Yeah,
was
that
like, damn,
one's.
like this is a really cool box set they did.
See, I don't like that one for some reason,
You
man.
don't like it the way it is?
I don't like the realistic hand.
Yeah.
It's a photo. I don't know. They could have done better because the packaging concept is brilliant. How it splits
Yeah.
in half.
I
But
still haven't watched it yet, but I need to
yeah,
check it out.
that's I think it's below 1,000 now, so that one's probably gonna sell out before the sale, Black Friday
Is
sale.
it? So they still have some with the packaging?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean they've had some good release. I was a big fan of that Primal Rage one they did. Um and Freeway 2 and Sidekicks and From Beyond. Like they started off the year with a bang. It just feels like the last few months they've been. I'm hoping this is like the calm before the storm and we get some good stuff in September and October and November.
I'm really curious about that 10 film box set they're putting out.
Yeah.
Because like I don't think it's going to be any big films. You know what I mean? Because why would they put it in a box set? Like clearly it's going to be low budget films that we probably don't know. So I know a lot of people are hyping it up, thinking it's going to be, a banger. But I don't know, man. I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
No idea. I'm sure it's going to be
Kino's killing
10,
it though,
10
man.
movies I've never heard of.
Kino is like number one for me right now, dude. Kino is
They are.
Jesus.
And, a lot of people would crap on them because their packaging is very basic, but I don't have a problem with that. Like, I like the Kino slipcovers, how they look on the shelf, and their transfers are top notch. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't say nothing really bad about Kino. I'm trying to buy all their 4Ks.
When you watch a lot of these, extras and even Vinegar Syndrome, I think on their YouTube, they have a couple videos where they discuss, the film restoration and the whole process and, how it can cost like up to $200,000 and $70,000, depending on the film, obviously. But it blows my mind how much content they're putting out. Like, they have 4K releases every Tuesday, I feel like multiple. So I don't know how much product.
Oh, Kino?
Yeah, the amount of product Kino has put out in the last year
They
is unreal.
usually do 2 or 3 a month, I think. But they do like 35 or 40 Blu-rays a month
Yeah, it's
sometimes.
insanity.
Like they've always got at least like 30 releases coming out every month. Yeah, I mean they're crushing it. I'm always down to support Kino. I need to grab some more on the sale they got going right now. For
Only
sure.
ones doing real sales also. Like they actually have sales,
Yeah, you feel like you're getting something. Feel like you're getting away with something when you buy something from Kino Lorber on those sales.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Especially nowadays, man. Everything's so expensive. I love Severin, but their 4K was $55, I think. Like that's insane to me. I don't think, and again, this comes from a guy that paid fucking $100 for Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something icky about $55 for a brand new UHD.
Yeah, I haven't jumped into Severin yet, and it's like from what I've seen, I'm like, I don't even feel like I need to get into this because like $60 for a 4K, nah, I'm good.
If you go on their back catalog, though, they have some great stuff. Like
Yeah,
I've
gotten a few from them, but like Grizzly, I think I got the Changeling, but then seconds I upgraded that one to 4K, and I got that, so that one's pretty much useless.
Yeah, I used to actually prefer Severin over Vinegar Syndrome. I probably like more Severin films than Vinegar Syndrome films, but I mean, it's just gotten so expensive. It's hard to keep up with the new releases. So I'm pretty much just a year behind, and I just wait until they put the stuff on sale, until it's affordable. Because like $40 Blu-rays and $55 UHDs, that's crazy to me, man. Adding four things to my cart and it ends up being like $225, like that's just
yeah.
No.
Do you worry about getting it with the slipcover and the packaging and all that stuff when you do that, or are you good not getting it with the slipcover? Does that bother you to have inconsistencies on your shelf or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say I have, a tad bit of OCD when it comes to that stuff, man. I think there's something to it, man. It just looks naked without a slipcover to me. It just doesn't look complete. Like there's just, I don't know. And when they put out movies like The Menu and, like Scream Factory and Shout are the worst with that because there's just no consistency. You have no idea what's coming. It just makes no sense,
I'm really shocked with those upcoming Night of the Demons releases 2 and 3 that they put slipcovers on those because they haven't done that for Blu-rays in a long time.
Yeah. Did the third one actually sell out?
I heard it did. I haven't looked at it since Monday night because I just went ahead and jumped on the bundle and ordered the whole thing just to knock it
Yeah.
out because I knew I wanted all three anyway. But I saw it was sold out Monday night. I don't know if it still is, if that was a glitch or whatnot. I haven't heard anything else about it.
Yeah. Because I still haven't gotten them. I would hate to miss out on the third one. Because, see, that would drive me nuts if I got the first two and the third one is sold
As soon
out
as
for
everybody
a
started
week.
talking about it selling out, I got on there and looked at the bundle, and I was like, there was still 950 or left because Scream Factory has the damn counter on there now too. I was like, all
Smart.
right, there's 950 of the bundle. I'm just grabbing the bundle. But I'm sure on release day there'll be more. It'll be on Amazon and everything else. I don't know. I can't see Night of the Demons 3 selling out. I know it's the first time on Blu-ray, but come on.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre title. Out of all three of them, the third one to sell out first, like I don't know.
Unless they did like way less of that one because they didn't think it would sell, like Creep Show 3 or something. I don't know.
I don't know, but if you were Scream, wouldn't you expect, like, whoever's buying these is probably going to pick up all three, I would assume.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen the third one. I haven't seen the second one either. I've only seen the second or the first one.
Yeah. I think I've only seen the first one also. I had them
Yeah.
on DVD, but I just, never got around to it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Scream Factor, do you still collect for them heavily, or you kind of fallen off of them? Have you ever been a big fan of them?
So, Scream Factory, I came to the game a little bit late. So, when they're doing the 4K upgrades, I don't mind it as much because I don't have a lot of these titles already.
Yeah,
So
same here.
when they're putting out like Night of the Comet or whatever the case may be, chances are I don't have it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So, but I understand the frustration. The people that have been collecting day one.
There are quite a few of those I bought on sales, like within the past 2 or 3 years, that they're upgrading to 4K now. But I still don't care because that's on
Yeah.
me. That's not their fault that I just bought it 2 years ago.
And I think I even heard you mention like The Burning. They put that out like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was
It's
10
part of
years
the
old.
game, man. Yeah, it's part of the game. You're taking a risk every time you buy a movie on sale because you never know. It might come out on 4K in 2 weeks, and then you made that choice, man. That's just what it is,
And I think it's something you actually need to go back and, not you, but when they upgrade these, go back and watch your Blu-ray because I feel like in your head maybe you think it looks better than it does. Because the Burning Blu-ray does not look great. Looks
No.
okay. But when you pop in that 4K, I was like, damn, like this is a hell of an upgrade. So I thought the Burning 4K is one of the best all year. I thought People Under the Stairs looked freaking fantastic. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, I
Screen
got that.
Factory's transfers in general, I think they're up there now with they haven't had all bangers, but they're up there with Kino and Arrow and Vinegar Syndrome. They do some good shit. Good
Yeah,
work.
I can't complain about Scream Factory when it comes to restoration quality. It's just my main frustration with them is being inconsistent with everything. Some of
Yeah.
the shout selects get slipcovers, some of them don't. Some
Yeah,
of the
it's
4Ks
weird.
do. I just don't understand, dude. You know how much it costs probably for them to make a slipcover? Probably
Doesn't
an
seem
extra
like it'd be
20
very
cents.
much.
Yeah, 20
Not for
cents,
those
30
slip
cents.
covers,
Yeah.
but
And I feel like if I'm paying $30, they should just all come with a slipcover. Like, why wouldn't you print every single movie with a slipcover and just put it out? Like, that just would make sense to me.
yeah.
I've never understood the whole thing about,
I
you have
get
to
it with
grab
some
it.
of their like smaller titles that they do. But like Dr. Giggles, like that should have came with a slipcover.
Yeah.
Like that's a big enough title, a notable title that should have came with like a collector's edition or something.
Yeah, I
But
just think if something came with a slip, it should forever come with a slip. If just put it in the cost,
yeah.
bump it up by $1 and just
But
print up a slip and put it on there. It's not that hard.
every single 4K they've done, if it's worth a 4K, it should be worth a slipcover on it. Like
Yeah.
Wanted and what was the one they did? Upgrade. Yeah, that needed a slip. There's no
Yeah, I don't know.
reason for it to not have one.
Because some of these movies are like $33, from anywhere from 27 to $30. To some, I think even like 35. Like I think Army of Darkness was like 35 or something like that. So I feel like if I'm paying $35 for a 4K, man, I mean it's not, stick a slipcover on there.
Do you,
Presentation wise, it just looks better too. In the store, it looks better. It's just more appealing on the eye.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's that they don't care? They just don't think that people really care about slipcovers. It's like your screen factor. You have to know people care about this kind of stuff. You've been dealing in the collector's market for like 10 years now. It's strange.
No, I think they're definitely very aware of the fans being almost obsessive with slipcovers, and that's why I kind of have a problem with it because I think they take advantage of that collector's mentality and they kind of exploit it because again, it shouldn't cost that much more. If it's the same price with a slipcover and without,
Yeah.
just include all of them with a slip. That means that it's already built into the cost of the movie. Just include them in all. I don't understand why some of them have it, some of them don't. Now, if in shipment some of them get damaged at a store, I understand that. But the concept of telling people the first 3 months it's guaranteed with a slip, I almost looked at, that's like a marketing tactic of almost rushing people out to get it in the first 3 months because they know people want it with a slip.
Yeah. For sure.
Otherwise
For
they'll
sure.
just wait for sales and just grab them. Wait a year and grab it on sale for $10 less.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna get into a few questions here just to kind of dive into your collecting habits. What type of
Yeah.
collector are you? First off, I always ask this, but what's the state of your physical media collection right now? How many do you have in the collection? How is it looking? Are you well organized? Everything to your liking, satisfaction? What's the state of it over at
I think
Planet Mondo?
I think I'm at around 2,500 ish. I would have to look at the app, but yeah, I'm very organized in general.
I
And I
saw that
still,
you did an organization video like a month or so ago, I think, where you were kind
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
reorganizing everything.
yeah. And I built my own shelves, which I was off a little bit. So again, my OCD kicks in because there's a tiny little bit of space above each movie. And I'm like, shit, I should have measured that again and made it perfect. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with my collection. The only problem is, um, I have a I have a finished basement, and I kind of want all my movies to be in the basement. But I've
Yeah.
had a flood, so I'm kind of like traumatized from that experience. Um, so now I'm running out of space in my living room, which I live by myself now, so it's not a problem. I can have movies wherever. But
Yeah.
I don't like it scattered in different rooms, and now I'm running out of space in the living room, so I kind of have to figure out where I'm gonna put it because I don't want to start putting it in rooms. I don't want to have people
Yeah.
walking around and you got a shelf in every room with movies on it. Um, but I'll figure it out. But so far, so good, man. I don't have any major issues.
Are you
I'm
pretty
not.
good about when you upgrade stuff, do you get rid of things or do you have a hard time letting stuff go that you upgrade?
I never let things go, and it's not because I want to keep it. It's just because I legitimately hate selling and shipping things.
Me too.
So I just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Um, so most of my DVDs, I just went and dumped them off at Goodwill, and I'm sure there was a bunch of rare stuff in there that I just gave away. I don't want to deal with listing stuff on eBay, having people send me questions. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
It just seems
I
like a
hear you.
miserable experience.
I took a bunch of Blu-rays off the shelf, made a whole video about it when I reorganized everything. I took like I don't know how many Blu-rays it was, maybe 100, and they're still boxed up. I haven't sold them or nothing.
Yeah,
And I've been thinking about recently, I'm just gonna fold them back into the collection, to
yeah.
my regular Blu-rays and keep them. Um, yeah, it's hard to get rid of stuff because then I start thinking about what they're doing to movies and taking them off of streaming services and reducing access. And it's like, you know what? I want as many copies as I can have. Because what if there's somebody out there that can't have access to something they really wanted? I want to be able to help them out. Maybe I can ship them mine or something. I'd rather keep it to use for that somewhere down the line.
I am glad though. I kept most of my horror DVDs because when I first got back into Blu-rays, I kind of just figured everything got upgraded during the time I was missing out because I tuned out for like 6 7 years. So I was like, oh shit, like everything is probably on Blu-ray by now. I don't need any of these DVDs anymore. And I trashed a lot, not trashed, but I took a lot and just gave them away. And now I realize like, oh, those movies never came to Blu-ray. So I just
Yeah.
so I probably should have been a little bit more careful with that. But yeah, I gave away a ton of good stuff. I mean, all those,
Yeah.
you know, I think I had I had a couple copies of that Wicker Man, the wooden box, which doesn't go for much, but it's a
I
lot of
got
history.
I actually got it. I got it recently because Garrett kept showing it off over at Born to Be Rad.
Yeah,
And I was like, damn it. I looked on Amazon. It was like $17. I'm like, I'm going to get this now
yeah, they're real
because
cheap.
I love that movie.
Yeah, they're real cheap. But yeah, I had like 2 copies of that, and I just gave them away at Goodwill. So somebody got it for like $1.
I kept all my horror DVDs too when I gave away like 500 DVDs or I sold them to half price books. I kept all the horror ones just because I was sentimental for them. I remember watching them the most when I was a kid, and a lot of them I got when I was a kid. Um, and I'm just still sore about all the Kevin Smith movies I sold off because I had like this Clerks 10th anniversary box set. It's like black and has an X on the front, and
I remember that. Yeah,
I had the Dogma like Bible DVD set, which now it's hard to get Dogma on Blu-ray and DVD unless you can find it somewhere. Um, and I had a nice Chasing Amy set, Mallrats, and all that stuff I had and gave away.
yeah. I still have my Dogma DVD. The what was it? The Bible edition, I think it was called.
Yeah, it looked like a Bible. It was like a big case thing. I don't know how many discs it had. Probably just had 2 discs, but they did it like it had 4 discs or something inside.
Yeah.
It's called like the Buddy. I think it was the Buddy Christ edition or something. I don't know. I think they called it something like that.
I hope we get those on Blu-ray eventually, though, man. Those and I mean the Kevin Smith movies, and also the Peter Jackson's early works, the horror stuff. Bad Taste
Yeah.
and Meet the Feebles and Dead Alive. I hope we get those, man, and especially
I
with
hope
Peter Jackson.
Lionsgate gets them all. Like it would be awesome if we can get 4K steelbooks of Clerks and Dogma and Chasing Amy. I mean, Universal has Mallrats, but Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, all those would be awesome. Get like 4K
Yeah.
steelbooks of them. I've heard they were close to reaching a deal. I don't know how true it was, but it was like a couple of months ago. There were some rumblings about it. Kevin Smith getting the rights to them.
Nice.
From the Weinsteins. All right. So I want to ask you just some collector questions to kind of gauge some of your habits. Are you a day one buyer, or do you usually find yourself waiting for the sale on most releases that you want?
Depends on the label. Like if it's Kino, I'm gonna wait for a sale just because it's like their sales make it worth it. Vinegar Syndrome, I'm never day one. Severin, I'm never day one. Basically, the only ones that I would buy day one is the Best Buy Steelbooks. Some of those sell out pretty quickly, and some of the Scream Factory titles. Like I pre-order a lot of those on Amazon just to get it over with. So those are probably the only day one pickups that I really actually get. I usually have large, like during the sales, I'll have like large pickups where I pick up like 25, 30 titles.
Yeah.
And then they all come at the same time. And then that's pretty much when I just rack up all my titles throughout the year. So I'll do that 3-4 times a year. And in between that, I basically just grab a couple Steelbooks here and there and grab a couple Scream Factory titles.
Sounds like a very smart, responsible way to do it.
Yeah, as well. Mortgage.
Yeah, myself. I mean, the Kino stuff, you'll get most of those with a slipcover in those sales.
Exactly.
Very rarely. I think To Live and Die in LA, you're probably not going to go with a slip. I think I heard that one sold out, and the same with The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. That one went out real quick, but pretty much every other one, it's good with a slipcover as long as you get it within the next 6 months or so.
Does 12 Angry Men still have the slip?
It should. I haven't, because on their site it'll show you if it has one or not. And I think when I looked at them, I think 12 Angry Men's on sale right now, actually.
Dude,
in the sale, so I think that has a slip.
I need to upgrade that, and I don't even have the Criterion. I never watched the movie, and I watched it on Tubi this year, and I fell in love with that movie.
Damn, it's such a good movie.
Oh my god!
Everybody was telling me about that movie, and I was like, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's good, but I'm sure it's one of those, it's a classic good or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, damn, this movie's still so relevant to today.
Yeah.
I could still put myself in like everybody's shoes. And I'm like, damn, this is like a masterpiece. One of the best movies I've ever seen.
It's so simple. It just takes place in one spot.
I love those type of movies too. I love one location movies.
Hell yeah. I
But
still haven't seen The Apartment. That's one I got to check out. I know
yeah,
you've probably seen that.
nope, I haven't seen it. For whatever that came out on 4K last year. I bought it when it came out, and I still haven't got around to watching it. Then everybody started calling it a Christmas movie. I'm like, do I need to wait till Christmas to watch this movie now?
Oh yeah.
So I haven't seen it. Still haven't seen it. But let's see. Do you buy a lot of mainstream stuff, or do you stick to mostly the boutique labels?
Depends on what it is. A lot of the Lionsgate stuff I collect, if you consider that mainstream,
The
I guess.
steel books.
Yeah, the
I would
Steelbook.
consider anything studio.
Yeah,
New studio titles, whether it's a restoration or just a new movie.
and
Mainstream.
A24. I definitely collect A24. I try to get all their titles. But yeah, I mean, I guess mainly the horror stuff that's new that I actually enjoy, like Evil Dead Rise. I still haven't grabbed, but that's one I'll grab. Megan, I still haven't seen or grabbed, but a lot of those titles that I feel like I
Wait for
want
the
to watch.
4K on Megan. It's supposed to get one
Yeah,
this
and
year.
Cocaine Bear, dude, I still haven't grabbed it because it's gonna get a 4K by next year. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. The restoration is already done. Like it's gonna come out. You know.
Yeah. Universal likes to get you with those for sure.
Yeah. But A24 is one that I definitely is day
Do
one.
you buy some of the exclusives on their site?
I used to, but I again, everybody complains about this, and I'm the same way, man. I hate the awkward size. Like
Yeah.
I can't fit it anywhere on the shelf. It just sticks out. I
Yeah.
have it with my books, because I can't fit it with anything else. It looks ridiculous.
Yeah. I haven't gotten any of those awkward box ones, but I'll get the ones that you can only get from them. Like I got Lamb on 4K from them.
Yeah, those actually
Um,
look nice though. The spine has the barcode.
Yeah,
It looks
and they
good.
line up, with my other A24s. But yeah, I'm the same way. I try to get all the A24 titles with the slipcover. If it's on Blu-ray or 4K, it doesn't really matter to me as long as I have
Yeah.
it. But all right. Which boutique label is your favorites out of all of them? Who's number one? Who's
Um,
killing it the most right now? I guess I should say.
I guess right now I would probably say Kino, since they're just putting out so much stuff. I mean, it's hard to compete with Kino.
Yeah.
But overall, I would say probably Criterion still, just because they're. I don't know, man. It's hard to beat Criterion, and I think a lot of it is just mental games. Like
Criterion's had a
it's
pretty
just
good year.
yeah. No, I think they're putting out some great stuff. I mean, Freaks that caught me out of nowhere, man. I
Yeah,
never
I'm excited for
anticipated that.
that. And the
Yeah,
others. Yeah.
yeah, hell yeah. I never anticipated either of those coming out, but yeah, man. I actually want them to get some Disney titles, some of like the early stuff.
It'd
Um,
be awesome.
yeah, some of the early stuff. I'm not talking about like Beauty and the Beast and stuff. I don't necessarily want them to put out cartoons, but I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't mind if they put out cartoons. Maybe some Mickey Mouse stuff like that could be Criterion level. Why not?
Yeah.
It's classic.
Yeah, they could do the um like the original Parent Trap or stuff like that. Some of the live action movies from like the 60s and 70s. Darby O'Gillis and the Little People, I think, is one I hear mentioned a lot.
Mary Poppins, definitely.
Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Those would be
Yeah,
good titles for them for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, we all want Disney to empty their library, unleash it
Please,
onto all these boutique labels because they just have so much. I would love for Kino to get like Con Air on 4K or something. That would be
dude. I
freaking
just
awesome.
not just the classic stuff. I mean, the stuff that they own with Fox, like
Yeah,
Barbarian. I want that on Blu-ray. Like I just, and I don't want
I
to
don't know
pay
what's
some.
going on with that crap.
Yeah, I mean that, and I don't know if you've seen this movie. I think it's on Hulu. The Empty Man. I fucking love that
Oh
movie.
yeah, I heard about. Wasn't that on physical, like the Red Box or something? But it never got like one that you could buy. But I think it
Maybe,
had like a physical DVD at the Red Box to rent, and
maybe.
I think you could buy it from the Red Box too. But it never got like a legit one with a case or anything. It was really
Gotcha.
weird what
That's
happened.
that's very bizarre.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Um,
sure it was at the Red Box though.
that's a movie I absolutely want in my collection, but it just
Yeah, I haven't
unfortunately I
seen.
would have to bootleg it.
Was that Disney that did that one, or
Yeah, I
was it
think it was
Fox or
Fox.
something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's so strange. Because I think the Boogeyman or something just got announced for a Blu-ray, and that's Fox, and
No, thank
like
you.
it has the Fox logo on the side, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so you all are doing the Boogeyman, but you won't do Barbarian. Like, what the is the deal? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's not
And I
like
think,
the it'd be one thing, like, at least if they just stopped doing it altogether, or we're not doing Blu-rays anymore. Okay, I can understand. But to just skip that one so deliberately, I don't get why.
and I think they would have done well with the Barbarian movie because there was a
Yeah.
lot of excitement behind them. I mean, I saw it posted all over the forums, all over
It
Facebook.
made good money at the theater. Like, it did well.
Yeah,
Like, it wasn't something that came out and did trash or anything.
yeah.
It made its budget back and then some. So, um, yeah, I don't know. That whole thing just is maddening to me.
No, I'm with you,
Um,
man.
are you a steelbook guy? Or are you a slipcover guy? What's your preference?
I Oh, that's a rough one. I would probably say slip covers though. I'm not too fond of the way the steel books line up on the shelf next to each other because a lot of them just blend into each other. Like the spines are very plain. A
Yeah,
lot of them are just black titles with like a red font, and you can barely see it. At least with slip covers, I mean, just look at the background picture. Those slip covers, everything is different colors. It's nice on the eye. Whereas when I look at my steelbook shelf, it's just a row of either just like gray, black, white, or red. That's like the four colors that are used in steelbooks pretty much on the
yeah.
spine. So I don't know. And again, maybe I'm biased because I'm an artist and I love colors and I appreciate those things. So when it looks so plain on the shelf, it just kind of annoys me. But I do love steelbooks though. Like I
Yeah.
love what Lionsgate is doing. They're absolutely amazing. Um,
I don't like how you have to worry about them so much. I'm always worried about my steelbooks, even when I'm not even using them. I'm like, are they going to fall? Is something going
yeah,
to get scratched when I pull a movie out to watch it? When I put it back in, I just don't feel like I have to worry about it the same way as I do slipcovers.
yeah, you gotta get those protectors, but they're super annoying though. Because
Yeah.
once you're trying to get the movie out, man, it makes you not even want to watch the movie anymore. You know, it's so
I couldn't
yeah,
imagine getting God bless Tony and everybody that bags their Blu-rays, but I couldn't imagine have to pull the movie out of a bag every time. I don't know.
yeah. The bag concept, I don't think I would like that on the shelf.
Plus, I don't mind like a little roughness, some rough edges here and there. Adds
Yeah,
character to your collection, makes it my collection.
hell, look at what MVD Rewind is doing. They're replicating that shelfware. So I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. That's a thing now. You get it and you be like, "Is this fucker damaged?" I'm
yeah,
like, "Oh no, it's just a part of it."
right.
So I think I know the answer to this question, but do you do a lot of blind buying?
Yeah, I mean, again, I didn't grow up here, so like I'm a lot of movies are foreign to me, no pun intended. But like Star Wars, I've never seen. Like a
Yeah.
lot of these movies that people grow up watching, I just never saw them. So even a lot of those movies that are getting 4Ks now that everybody has seen 40,000 times, it's a blind buy for me because I've never seen it, even though I've lived here for 25 years or whatever it's been. But
What were some of the first like movies that you remember watching, like what some would consider like classic movies when you came over here to the States?
it
What
wasn't even
are
the
ones that you got
States.
a chance to watch and
Yeah.
kind of grew up with you?
The first one was Jaws. I think the second one was probably Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones. And
Okay.
I wore those tapes out, man. I fell in love with those tapes. And Stir Crazy, for some
Spielberg.
odd reason, we had the Richard Pryor Stir Crazy movie, and I
Yeah.
watched that a
I haven't
lot.
seen that one.
Amazing movie. Check that out. You'll love it.
I need to. I know there's a lot of
Timeless.
prior stuff I need to watch still.
Timeless.
I love comedies so much, but for some reason there's so many comedies from like the 70s and 80s that I still haven't seen. It's like when I was a kid, it was all like 90s comedies, and then as a teenager in my 20s, it was all like 2000s Apatow era stuff. Um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Gene Wilder stuff I need to watch, other than Willy
Yeah.
Wonka, of course. I've seen him, Blazing Saddles, but
And that's the cool thing about all these boutique labels putting stuff out is because I'm discovering so much cinema that I never would have known. Like I never was into spaghetti westerns or westerns in general. I'm trying to get
Love
into
them.
that. Like that,
Yeah.
this gives me the access to be able to watch those movies. And I don't necessarily want to watch them on like a VHS rip on Tubi, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you're gone. He's gone.
You there? What happened? I think we dropped
All right,
off.
you cut out. You cut out completely. All right,
Oh,
just get
sorry
back into
about that.
what you're talking about, and
Yeah,
I'll
but
edit it out,
yeah, but
or I
I
won't.
just
I'll just leave it in maybe.
yeah, fuck it, just leave it at that. But yeah, I appreciate that so much with Kino just introducing me to all these Western movies and classics that I would have never known about.
Yeah.
Criterion is almost all the time of
So,
limelight for me.
do you have you watched the Dollars trilogy then?
No, I do want to
Okay.
check that out though.
Once
I
Upon a
still have
Time in
to
the
ask.
West too. Those are all the top spaghetti westerns I would
Yeah,
recommend. Those are the best of the best.
I mean, whatever you want to get into, there's a company for it right now. I mean, if you want to get into foreign, uh, cheap horror movies, there's Mondo Macabro. Vinegar Syndrome has
Yeah.
a little bit of everything. Arrow, Scream Factory are putting out more of the mainstream horror titles. Criterion, Kino are just everywhere. 88 Films, if you want the kung fu titles, like,
Yeah.
Whatever you're into, there's a company out there for you. Unearthed Films, if you're into the gross, you know,
Serbian film.
yeah, like I don't know, they're a little bit much for me, man. I don't.
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely learning more about as well as I go on. It is important to have access to all these different kinds of movies, even if something's not necessarily for me. And
Yeah,
I talked earlier about some of these movies being trash, and that's subjective, uh, for sure. But regardless of the quality of the actual movie, it's still a movie that somebody put their time and effort into and made, and it should be preserved. So it's really cool that some of these companies are, preserving it for future generations.
no, I agree, man. Not only just like one person's dreaming and work. There's countless people involved with these
Yeah.
movies, so it's like when you put it in that perspective, where you're like, damn, like 30 people took 3 weekends out of their life to make this. Like that should be given some respect. You know what I mean? Even if I think it's the biggest piece of trash of all time,
Yeah.
somebody else might absolutely fall in love with this movie. Like I cannot stand shot on video films. I despise them. They look gross to me. Like there's nothing in there for me.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know. I haven't checked out a lot of them myself, but that kind of stuff feels like, okay, what's the difference between that and me having a camcorder filming me and my friends
right,
doing dumb shit when I was 15 or 16?
exactly. And
I could dig up those tapes. Do those deserve to be preserved? You
right,
know, but they were done by quote unquote filmmakers. I guess they had scripts and they were movies to an extent.
yeah. I mean, some of the titles that like AGFA puts out, like I don't understand how you could get entertainment out of that. But there's people that swear by them and they collect every single one of them. So who
Yeah.
am I to say what's trash? But for me personally, like those shot on video films, I just need more effort, man. I don't know. I'm sorry. I need more than Halloween costumes and a camcorder. I can do that. What is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And it gets tough when they put a nice shiny slipcover on it with cool artwork and you're like, "Damn, this looks awesome."
Yeah.
But you always have to remember about the movie that's inside.
Yeah. The
How am
nicer
I
the
going to
slip
feel about
cover,
the
the
movie?
shittier the movie. You
Sometimes
know?
it feels that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to joke all the time about Vinegar Syndrome stuff before I really got into them. Like, this is stuff that's, in 20 years, they're going to be putting out these Dollar Tree movies. Movies that are out of the Dollar Tree right now are going to be future Vinegar Syndrome titles. It's that
I
same level
wish.
of quality. But I've enjoyed a lot of the Vinegar Syndrome stuff I've gone back and watched, for sure.
Yeah. I've enjoyed most of the stuff I've grabbed. There's only a handful of titles that I've bought blindly from them that I regret. Um, Mainly Master of the World. Anybody watching, do not do it.
I've heard bad things about that, so I won't get it.
Oof. Oh my god. Dude. Just out of curiosity, I think it's probably on Tubi. Like, just scroll through the movie. Don't even bother watching the whole thing.
Mm.
Just scroll through it and just get an idea of like what this is.
It's supposed to
And
be
I
set in
guarantee,
like the caveman era, right?
yeah,
It's
it's
like
the caveman
cavemans and
era, but
stuff.
nothing happens, dude. It's just literally cavemen walking around for an hour and a half. That's just like all it is. I'm just like, where's the
Somebody
punchline?
put their blood, sweat, and tears into those cavemen walking around, though.
Oh man, it's so
And it
bad, dude.
deserves to be preserved.
And like, dude, I love those caveman type of movies. There's not too many of them, but like I love that concept, because I love timepieces.
Yeah.
Um, I was waiting for the punchline because there was so much cool things that they could have given me. I'm not asking for a dinosaur, but like at least them fighting. Caveman can't fight each other. Like there was just nothing. It was just them literally walking around the whole time. I was like, that's just terrible. This is awful.
You say it's on Tubi?
I mean, I can almost guarantee it's on Tubi. Everything is on Tubi. What is not on Tubi?
Yeah, that is important to note that a lot of these boutique labels, their stuff is on Tubi. So if you just want to test it out, you can.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Arrow stuff is on there. You can watch it on Tubi. A lot of the Giallos are on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel the same way about blind buying. That's what this hobby's about for me at this point. It's about exploring because I've missed out on a lot of classics and stuff. So I feel like I'm filling in a lot of these gaps now through all these physical media releases. So it's cool for me. And more often than not, I'm satisfied with what I get. Unless it's Bubba Hotep.
I still haven't seen that. I bought it, but I still haven't seen it. You've bashed it so much that
it's not even that bad. It's not like it's an awful movie or nothing. It's just
Yeah.
not what I expected, and it was extremely boring to me.
And I think the more you collect, the more you get to know yourself and your own taste, obviously, just naturally. So chances are your blind buys, you're probably going to like them because you're going to check out a trailer. You're going to look at some screen caps. Because that's what I tend to do. I rarely just actually blind buy where I just read the back of the, spine or whatever. I mean, the back of the cover and just buy it. I'll check out a trailer.
I do too much artwork blind buying for sure.
Do you really?
When it comes to Vinegar Syndrome, oh, that looks cool. No, I will read a little bit about it just to see what the premise is, but the premises can always be very misleading.
Dude, just click the trailer. It's included in the description. Just click the trailer and watch it.
I'm just funny about trailers. I hate watching trailers. I feel like they're going to spoil something, and I don't want to see anything.
Yeah, but with some of those titles,
but I need to. I know
it's necessary because you're like, yo, this cover looks amazing, and then you look at the trailer, you're like, where's the dragon? Where's the king? Like none of this happens in the movie. Where's
it's a guy in a costume.
Yeah,
Dragon V7.
Yep.
All right. Let's. Do you buy only 4K Blu-ray now, or do you still get some DVDs from time to time?
I
guess I'll put it to you this way: how much does the format matter to you at this point? Do you upgrade everything you can, or you get some stuff where you just go with Blu-ray?
Not everything. I think I'm okay with a lot of stuff on Blu-ray. Mainly, it just depends on the film. Like if it's got a lot of color, if it's got a lot of darks, like if it's a black and white film, like I'm probably gonna want to upgrade if I like it. Just depends on the movie. Like a lot of comedies, I feel like it's cool to have them available on 4K. Like I would buy it if I don't have it already. But I don't need that to be upgraded necessarily. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure.
Like if I have Wayne's World on Blu-ray, I don't necessarily need that on 4K. Now, if I don't have it on
that 4K wasn't nothing special either.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of those movies, I feel like it really depends on the film because like 4Ks, I feel like they really shine when it's a colorful film, like a lot of the horror movies with blood and a lot of the classics, in black and white or westerns because you have a lot of deserts and oranges with blue skies. Like it's it's got to look.
Rio Bravo looked fantastic. That was my most recent Western 4K.
Yeah, I still gotta check out Django because I remember you said.
Oh, from Arrow, damn, that's like the gold standard for me. I like compare everything I watch to that.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
That was the first 4K I watched because I don't know. It's when you first get into starting to watch 4Ks, you're like, what am I looking for? What's supposed to look better? What's not? Some you can see like clear as day, but I was struggling there at first. I think it's because I was watching a lot of newer movies on 4K. When you really go back and start watching some of those classics and seeing what they do, I don't know. That one blew my mind. That was the first one I watched. I was just like, damn. Like now I can see what this format can do.
I still got to get that, man. I missed out on that one.
Yeah, incredible. And I think it has at least one other film in that as well. So it came with like 2 movies in there as like a bonus feature.
I did get that other film they put out, that other western around the same time. Something Dundee, Major Dundee, I think it was.
Yeah, I didn't get the one I should have. That
I
came in
got
a
that.
box set too. I think it was like a Blu-ray box set.
Yeah, yeah, I grabbed that one. That one was pretty good, man. I like that one.
Nice, nice. Let's see. What are some movies on your wish list that you would like to see come to Blu-ray or 4K? What's like the top 3 that hasn't happened yet? Maybe that you used to have on DVD, since you said you gave away some of those and they didn't have upgrades.
It's my crackhead dog going crazy in the background.
I know about those.
As far as Blu-ray, obviously the Peter Jackson films, like I love Bad Taste. I adore that movie. And I still have the DVD because it's got one of the coolest DVD packages ever. Like Anchor Bay was killing it back in the day. Bad Taste, 100%. As far as 4K, I would love to see Reanimator, the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
I think if Arrow actually put out a box set, that would be phenomenal. Because they already did the Blu-rays in limited edition sets. So I think Reanimator, which we'll probably get sooner than later. That's a big title. And,
yeah, I feel like Arrow might be sitting on Reanimator at some point. I don't know when it's going to come. Maybe it'll come this year. Who knows? Maybe November, December. But it's got to come next year, if not this year.
And that'll look phenomenal on 4K, dude. All the greens and stuff. Oh, man, that's going to look amazing. Like, that's the type of movie I would want to upgrade because I'm like, yo, that's gonna look different. It's gonna be a different experience watching this in 4K. Yeah. One more. I would probably.
And to tell you the truth, I wouldn't mind if Vinegar Syndrome got a hold of that.
Yeah, I
did it on
wouldn't either.
4K. Because what they could do with like the packaging, that way I could sit it next to my From Beyond.
Exactly.
Because I kind of view those, and like both directed by Stuart Gordon, came out around the same time. That would be cool.
Jeffrey Combs, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. Obviously, the Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, I would love a nice, maybe even one of those Steelbook tins that they put out, like almost with Rambo. They did. I doubt we'll get that. I know you've mentioned we'll probably.
I feel like that's what we're gonna get. Yeah. I feel like they're gonna rocky it, which, like you said, could lead to standalone Steelbooks, which could be cool. I can't see them do that for Nightmare, but I don't know.
I hope they don't do that with the Steelbooks. Like, I hope they sell it as one set, because I have a feeling, with 9 or 10 or however many there is, I don't want to do that over 10 weeks where I have to risk one is going to sell out and, oh shit, now I'm missing the third one and now I got to go on eBay and pay $75 because I got to fill in the gaps because this one randomly sold out. Just like with the Night of the Demons, like why is the third one sold out? You never know. So if Nightmare comes out like similar to Rocky, where it comes out in a smaller box set and then they put out the steel books each week, I would hate that because I just know one of them is gonna sell out and I'll miss out on it and just be annoyed. But
it would be.
I don't know, man. I think that's gonna happen eventually, sooner than later, though. Maybe next year.
Yeah, it just sucks because while Warner Brothers wants to do it themselves because they're not going to do as good of a job. I'm sure they'll look fine, but like packaging wise, like we could get so much better from like Vinegar Syndrome or Scream Factory or anybody else. I just don't feel like Warner Brothers is going to do it justice. I just don't think they care enough about Nightmare.
Scream hasn't put out any box sets in a long time. I feel like.
No, they haven't. They have not. I feel like the last one was Friday the 13th. Can you think of one that came after that? Because I can't.
No, that was the last one, I think.
Yeah, before that was The Fly. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Or in The Omen. I think both of those came out right before the Friday the 13th one. Yeah, you would thought that maybe they would have done Night of the Demons like that. Maybe a box set for those, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand
know what other franchises they can get where they can get now at this point.
Yeah,
that hasn't been picked apart.
Yeah,
that's why I think right now Arrow is just killing it for me because they're still giving you the box sets and the cool 4K releases, and the freaking Hellraiser just blew my mind when they announced that.
Yeah, I mean Arrow,
4Ks of those.
they bounced back, dude. They had a rough year last year, I think. They really bounced back this year. I mean,
There's
they're
no way
putting
that
out
they're
a
not going to
ton
be
of
like
stuff.
my number one boutique label this year. It'll be almost impossible for them not to be at this point, because to do the Psycho set, 4K set, and then the Hellraiser like back to back, and
Yeah,
that Enter the Video Store, they've just had hit after hit this year. They've been killing it since like March, I think.
that Bruce Lee set would have counted if they didn't
Yeah, and
botch
the
it.
Bruce Lee. Yeah.
I mean, every
Yeah.
set is broken. I mean, dude, I looked at some of these pictures. It's like it
That's
disturbs me
crazy.
how ripped apart some of these sets are. I mean, they're literally split in half. But
Yeah. I'm a little bit more comfortable about my Psycho, and hopefully they'll learn from that, and they won't do that to Psycho and the Hellraiser. But also, I got it from Diabolic, and I'll at least know it's damaged before it comes to me, because they'll see it damaged before I do, and I'm sure they'll put a stop to it.
yeah, I think the issue with the Bruce Lee one was that they obviously didn't package it well, but it was also very heavy. So I don't think the
Yeah,
Hellraiser. I don't think those are going to be nearly as big as this one.
incredible box set though. That's a shame what happened. Hopefully they get that fixed. Give everybody their 15%, like Tony said.
Which is a shame, man. I mean, it's like a
Jesus.
$200 box set. Give me 15%.
Yeah.
It looks ruined. Like I don't know. Again, I'm not a package collector. I actually watch the movies, but still, if I'm paying $200, I want something that's top notch. Like I expect it to get here without it being split in half. Like that, you know. But
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, man. That left a bad taste in my mouth, and I didn't even buy it. But just the fact that they were basically like, oh well, we'll just give you like 15% off, and him saying that he had to fight for the 15%, like come on, that's crazy.
Yeah, that does put a little bit of a stain on Hero Video
Yeah,
for sure.
Zavi, man, when they took over, it's going downhill.
Yeah. So we'll get into a couple other questions, and then we'll close it out. But
Yeah.
why is physical media important to you? Owning movies physically, why has that been important to you? As long as you can remember.
Well, it changes the older I get. Beforehand, a lot of it was I just wanted to own this movie. It was just
Yeah,
an obsessive thing. Now I'm more so trying to build almost like a library that I can appreciate. Hence the reason I'm being more picky with what I put in there, because I don't want to have things that shouldn't be in my collection.
yeah,
And there's a lot of films that I may not necessarily check out again, but I think I want to own them for historical purposes, just to have it, just because this is a movie that was banned forever, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think the older that I get, the more I appreciate keeping it preserved and keeping it alive. Because I mean, I don't want to get into a whole AI talk necessarily, but like with the future, it's very important to keep what we have preserved, because I don't know what films are going to look like in 20 years. Like, I don't even know if actors are going to be a thing. They might be all fake and
yeah,
CGI. I mean, I'm an artist now, man. I can tell you, ever since AI, I used to do a lot in commissions. A lot of people, they can type 2 words in, and that's good enough for them, for AI to make it, So it's impacted the world faster than you think. And it's kind of
yeah.
scary when it comes to like the creative people, because I feel like it's going to kick everybody out. Musicians, producers that are making beats, people. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
'Cause
scary world,
you
man.
look at it like, okay, they can do that with drawings and stuff, and
Yeah,
you'd be like, well, they couldn't do that with actors, not like living beings that you're seeing on screen, but they absolutely
yeah,
could.
it'll happen.
With the
It's going to happen
writing
in our
and
lifetime.
everything else, and you're just gonna get hell. I mean, half the shit that's coming out nowadays feels like it's just being churned out of a factory anyway through all the same people, and um, yeah, it's just everything feels so watered down already. I can't imagine what it'd be like if it's all coming through a computer.
I mean, look at Marvel. Half of Marvel is CGI. Like half the film is literally CGI. They could make
Yeah.
the whole thing CGI if they wanted to. They can, especially with all these strikes and stuff. If the companies are just they're that greedy and they don't want to deal with actors anymore, they're like, oh, we'll just fake it. We'll just
Yeah.
make CGI out of it. You don't
It'll be
mind.
very interesting for me though, like how many people would actually support it. How many people would care to stand up and say, I'm not supporting this crap, even if you're throwing big, bright, shiny things all over the screen for me to watch and zone out and enjoy.
Yeah,
How many people would actually stand up and say, I ain't watching that crap? If it's made by a computer, I ain't messing with it. Who would do the
I hope
research
enough
to even
people.
know?
I hope enough people to make an impact, man, because I think it's very important to like AI and technology is very cool and how much it's advancing in our lifetime. At the same time, though, I feel like it could be detrimental. Like art and expression in a creative way has been an outlet for human beings forever.
Yeah.
And once you just kind of just kill that off, I feel like, I mean, you look at our history, a lot of history, we look back at it and we can get the visuals through paintings. Who's going to know what the world's going to look like in 400 years if everything is AI and there's so much content that gets deleted daily? It just, I don't know. It's going to be a scary future. Interesting, but kind of scary.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I don't even look at stuff on streaming as real content anymore, unless it gets a
Yeah.
physical release. Because if you can delete it, then I don't even view it as being real.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. It is crazy. Um, what's your thoughts on the state of physical media as it stands right now? Do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's ending anytime soon? I know everybody wants to talk about the death of physical media. Is that something you subscribe to?
No, I don't think it's going to die anytime soon. I think it's going to die off in the mainstream where you'll see companies like Disney and even eventually Paramount and all these other companies, they'll probably stop putting out physical. I do think the boutiques are probably going to stick around because if these larger conglomerates aren't putting these movies out themselves, they'll probably lease them to these smaller companies, these boutique labels for cheaper prices. So
Yeah.
the people that want to collect them, they'll still have an outlet. Hopefully, like I hope so, man. I don't know. It would be a scary time to see in 40 years when you and I look to be retired and watch our collection and 4K TVs don't even exist and 4K players aren't even a thing. You can't even get one anymore. And we just collected all this shit for no reason. And it's just none of it can be
All my
watched.
stuff that I got holds up.
Yeah. None of it. You can't even watch any of it. It's just like technology's surpassed Blu-rays and 4K so much that it's not even possible to watch it when you're 80. Like that's the type of things I think about where I'm like, dude, that's kind of scary with how far technology is changing, like almost on a daily basis. Like, dude, AI came around not too long ago with the concept of art and mid journey and everything else, and now you look at it, it's doing things that it scares me. It scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. I guess we should shift into collecting books then.
Yeah,
We'll always be able
I
to read our
started.
books
Yeah, and honestly, books never went away really. Like Kindle came around and it couldn't do anything really. People, I think the
because
concept
that
of reading,
really is not the same at
it's
all.
not.
I
Yeah,
hated
people
holding
like to
that.
feel the paper.
Yeah.
They want to flip the pages. Like it just
Yeah.
there's something to that, man. There's something to opening your movie, something to looking
Yeah.
for it on the shelf. I just
At least with
scrolling
the
through it.
movie, like I can get people wanting to, because when you're actually in the act of watching the movie, what difference is there between having the disc and playing it on Netflix, other
Right.
than some quality differences for sure? Um, Besides just putting in the disc, but like when you're reading, like the whole process of reading, you're holding the book and it's in your hand and you're experiencing
Yeah.
that physically. So when you have the Kindle or e-reader or whatever, it just changes that experience completely. Whereas watching the movie on streaming versus physical isn't really all that different at the end of the day. You're still experiencing the movie.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, well, now I'm afraid. I'm afraid of robots coming to take over.
Yeah, man. I
Mm.
mean, dude, these Cronenberg films where they're mixing humans with robots and they're becoming these. I'm like, dude, this might be us. In like 40 years, this might be us. I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But hopefully we get things straightened out and people realize that humans inhabit this planet and we need to do our own shit,
Yeah.
in order to stay relevant and to the earth, otherwise we're just going to get taken over by robots. I don't see
Yeah.
how they can't see that kind of thing. It's everybody just chasing how much money they can grab so they can go off in their remote facilities and forget about all of us as we watch
Apparently
the
we have
world burn.
aliens now too. So I mean, we got robots, aliens taking over, dude. It's over.
Nobody's even talking about the aliens.
Oh, dude,
There's no
everybody's so
aliens.
stressed out. Everybody's so stressed out with life. No one cares. Who gives a shit? Whatever.
Oh,
Whatever.
aliens are real?
Yeah.
Nah.
Like, dude, I just bought 2 tomatoes for $5.30. Who cares about aliens? I'm just trying to live. Who cares?
Absolutely.
Just bought a sandwich.
I just want a slipcover on my 4K. I don't give a shit about aliens.
Exactly.
But Mondo, I appreciate you coming on here with me. This is World's Biggest Collector, episode 56. You want to let everybody know where they can find you and subscribe to you real quick before we close out?
Yes, sir. Once again, thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure. But yeah, check me out on YouTube, Planet Mondo. Check me out on Instagram, planet.mondo. Check out some of my art. I'm going to be launching an Etsy site or my own site fairly soon where I'm going to be selling prints. And I do commissions as well. So if you want some custom posters, if you like a movie and you want a poster just for you, I do that sort of thing. So hit me up.
Nice. Yep, definitely subscribe to Mondo and follow him on Instagram. Those links are down below in the description. And appreciate all of you all watching. Hit the subscribe button, like button, comment. Leave us a comment on this conversation. It was a good conversation, I think. So let us know what you think of it in the comment section below. And we will see you guys later.